Hello everybody, today we're going to be doing a pet battle over at the Darkmoon Faire. We're taking on Feasel. We have a couple of strategies for you, so let's get started. Okay, so here we are against Feasel. The first strategy we have is using a mechanical Pandaren Dragling in our first slot with Breath, Bombing Run, and Decoy. In our second pet we're using a Phoenix Hatchling with Burn, Immolate, and Conflagrate. But in this second slot, it can be there's numerous pets that will fit this. You just want a pet here that has elemental damage against the mechanical. This works best because Conflagrate actually does quite a bit of damage when you get Immolate off on him. And the third pet I'm using Menagerie Custodian, but this can also be any pet with a large single attack, just in case you need to clean him up if your second pet doesn't take him out completely. Okay, so when you start off, you're just, the first pet is quite simple. You're just going to be using Breath until they die, until Judgment's dead. Okay, so this Breath will take him out, and then when the next pet comes in, what we'll do is we'll put up Decoy, and then we'll switch, and this Phoenix Hatchling just massacres this Tonk. So watch what happens if we put on Immolate, and then we're going to hit him with Conflagrate. And because we have the Decoy up, he takes him all the way down to where he has to die and then come back. So he comes back, and he'll hit you. That's okay. We'll hit him with one more burn. And look how easily we took out the little Tonk there. So Feswit comes in. When Feswit comes in, you're just going to use Immolate and get his health down a little bit. If you can. He's going to daze you here. That's fine. Occasionally that happens. You're just going to pass. And then when Conflagrate's up, you're going to use Conflagrate. And then we'll hit him with another burn. If your pet dies, you can just bring in one of your last pet to finish this off. But most of the time, this is exactly what happens. Your Phoenix Hatchling takes out Feswit. So it's a pretty straightforward fight. And with that setup, okay. So for our second strategy, everybody uses a mechanical Pandaren Dragling really on their first pet, you know, in the first strategy. So I just thought I'd come up with something different. I'm using a Spawnum Onyxia with Breath, Scorched Earth, and Liftoff, a Fell Flame with Flame Breath, Immolate, and Conflagrate, and then I just have a Crow in my last slot. But this can be any pet with, you know, ideally a high speed and a large single attack. So when we get started, what you'll do is you'll start off with Scorched Earth, and then you'll just spam Breath until Judgment is dead. So Judgment goes down, and when the Honky Tonk comes in, you'll want to try to cast Liftoff. You may not get it as he attacked me there. Sometimes he actually does lock on first, but if he does hit you first and die, that's fine. But now Scorched Earth is already going, so you don't necessarily need to cast Immolate. You can just cast Conflagrate, and you'll get the same damage, or quite a bit of damage, because the target's already burning. So then you can cast either Flamed Breath or Immolate. It doesn't necessarily really matter, but this way Conflagrate starts on cooldown, and you may be able to get another one off on the next pet. Okay, so when Feswit comes in, he's probably going to stun you here. So when he does, you'll just pass. and then you'll use Immolate. And your Fell Flame will die. Sometimes you can get Immolate off and as well as your third attack as well. But so if your third pet does come in, sometimes you actually kill Feasel without even using the third pet. But if your third pet comes in, what I'll do is I'll hit cast Call Darkness, and then I'll use Nocturnal Strike. So if that didn't kill him, then just finish it off with an Alpha Strike. And if that misses, which is rare, 10% chance of missing, but it missed, just do it again. And Fezwick goes down. It's usually actually not that hard. It's actually, usually he dies before you even get your third pet in. But that's the strategy, or the second strategy that I would use on Jeremy Feasel, if you don't have a Mechanical Pandaren Dryling. The first strategy is oftentimes the most consistent. Okay, so here we are against Christoph VonFeasel. I'm just using 3 Little Bling lookalikes. So I got Little Bling in the top slot and the second slot, Inflation, Extra Plating, and Make It Rain on them, and then the Clockwork Gnome with Metal Fist, Repair, and Build Turret.
What can I do for you? Farewell.
So there is a little bit of a strategy here on this. So you want to put up extra, or particularly in the second pet, but you want to put up Extra Plating on Sid at the beginning, and then do the Make It Rain first, and then follow that with Inflation. That's going to get rid of his bubble pretty quick here. Okay, so here we don't want to put up the other Make It Rain right here because the next pet has a debuff that prevents a certain amount of damage. So we want to go ahead and use Inflation here. Sid's going to be taken out, and then the last round of Inflation, or a round of Inflation, is going to hit Mr. Pointy, and we need that debuff on Mr. Pointy in order for our attacks from Little Bling to hurt him. Okay, so when he comes back, we're going to continue with Inflation. We'll bring in our second Little Bling. We'll cast Make It Rain. Follow that with Inflation. Okay, and so Mr. Pointy goes down there. So now when Auto comes in, we're only going to have really one opportunity here. So I'm going to go ahead and cast Make It Rain. Well, in this case we had 2 opportunities, but we just want to get Make It Rain on there because the next pet coming in is going to need some help. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a turret. And we're going to hit him with a Metal Fist. And then we're going to hit him with a Metal Fist again, and that'll wrap it up. So there's a lot of other strategies for this particular fight. There's any mechanical pet, it's particularly Iron Starlets against Christoph VonFeasel, make it pretty simple. But that's the strategy that I use with all 3 Little Bling lookalikes. Okay, so here we are with the second strategy. The first strategy I think is just kind of funny because you're using all the same little robots. This strategy is actually a little bit more consistent, I guess. We're going to use a Crimson Whelpling with Tail Sweep, Scorched Earth, and Liftoff, followed with a Tranquil Mechanical Yeti with Metal Fist, Call Lightning, and Ion Cannon. And the 4th pet can be really anything, but I'm using the Handy with Chop, Rebuild, and Omnipubble. But any pet that is strong against a beast will work in that 3rd slot. So when we start this off, we want to do this in a very specific order. We're going to start off with Scorched Earth. We're going to follow that up with Tail Sweep. And then when this is on 1 round of cooldown, when Whirlpool's on 1 round of cooldown, we're going to use Lift Off to avoid a lot of damage. Notice that Scorched Earth is still hitting Squid even if he has his bubble on. And then when we come back down, 1 round of Tail Sweep will take out Sid. And that's all you need for Sid on that one. So when Mr. Pointy comes in, you're going to want to use 1 round of Scorched Earth, and then follow that with Tail Sweep, depending on if you can get it all off or not. So if you get the Tail Sweep off, fine. You're probably going to die after this particular round, but the Whirlpool now is off cooldown. So at this point, you bring in your Tranquil Mechanical Yeti. And you might think you want to cast Call Lightning right off the bat, but you don't want to do that. You actually want to use Metal Fist here. And get Mr. Pointy down quite a bit here. And even here, go ahead and use Metal Fist here. You're going to come back, you're going to bring Metal Fist, you're going to hit him with Metal Fist, and you're going to take out Mr. Pointy. Now, when the last pet comes in, Auto, you want to use Call Lightning here, which is going to do quite a bit of damage, and it's going to put on the Lightning Storm. If you can get Ion Cannon off, go ahead and do it. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do that. It's not a problem. And so when Handy comes in here, you're going to start off with Omni Pummel. And with the Call Lightning buff on there, it's going to do quite a bit of damage to Otto. A lot of times you'll already have him dead at this point, because it does that. He's oftentimes down quite a bit just from your Tranquil Mechanical Yeti. Now you're going to use Chop again here. He's going to hit you, it's okay, no problem. And the last round, sometimes he's actually already dead, but the last round of Chop will take out Otto. And that's the 2 strategies that I use for Christoph VonFeasel over in the Darkmoon Faire. We really appreciate everybody watching. Thank you, and have a great day.